out in the country where you have room to do these things, where you have room to expand and go on hiking trails, and develop hiking trails, and develop areas. Why put it in the middle of a town? Anyone? Yeah.
I mean, Elkins has a RV park in the middle of town. Fayetteville has multiple ones. I think.
We're not worried about.
Why do you want to put it in the middle of the town as opposed to outside?
Be closer to that campground.
Process area, they have like.
David, is it going to be a free-for-all?
No. No. It's not.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, yesterday I did a video about how Anna Duggar is putting her damage control out there, and I got a lot of feedback from you guys in the comments. And last night was very exciting. I actually got to witness a Duggar in the wild. I mean, indirectly, through a video screen at a town meeting. So it was like, I'm telling you, a very odd experience to actually witness how someone connected to the Duggars does business or tries to do business with a town in a city, and being so tone deaf and really just so like not even really reading the room. That it made me realize, like, wow, they really think that they know more than everyone else, or they're either at least so arrogant that they just assume this would work, or they're just not that intelligent and they just made a colossal mistake, or they just assume they can do whatever they want. It's somewhere in the middle, or maybe none of them at all. But
I don't know myself of any place here in Arkansas that has an RV park this close to a child care center or a primary school.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're a distance away from that zone, and so my recommendation to this board is going to be, I'm going to say we deny this application.
But Austin Forsyth literally just flushed $159,000 down the drain because his plan to open a new business, which would have generated income for him and his wife. Actually, this is supposedly a joint business with Austin and Joy, because the property is in their name, by the way. They bought a piece of property that was not zoned for an RV park, wasn't zoned for anything other than agriculture, and decided they were going to try to have it rezoned to become an RV park in the middle of town right next to a daycare. And it didn't go over well.
Thanks for voting. All those in favor of denying this? All in favor of passing? No.
Absolutely. Not here. Not here. It's all good. It's all good. Be respectful, guys. Be respectful.
Please keep it simple.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat. Nobody at this meeting had anything against anyone that has an RV. Nobody had anything against anyone that RVs or likes to hang out at RV parks or lives at RV parks. Not one person had a problem with that. The problem was the location, and the problem was the proximity to children, and the fact that they were asking for something that was above and beyond what any other business could expect. Yep, that happened. And to actually witness in real time people heckle and yell and make it very clear that Duggar business in the improper place and in general is not welcome in a town was astounding. I always was told that people local don't like the Duggars and that they're not popular, and that a lot of people in Arkansas are embarrassed to even have them in their community, that the whole like group of people that they move in is so insulated and isolated, and that they're really not this big thing that that they make you believe they are out in the real world, out in the tabloids, because they were on the show. In fact, most people in town want nothing to do with them, and that is evident by what happened in this meeting last night. So Austin got heckled literally out of a meeting. Like, they basically booed him out of a town hall. And then we're going to talk about how Josh Duggar's case is scheduled for an appeal, oral argument. So before we dive into today's topic, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed, and turn those notifications on so you know when I go live or when new content loads, and make sure to leave a comment if you have something to say. And as always, share this video with some friends. And yeah, so I want to start right off the bat with a disclaimer. I understand that a lot of people get really, really, really sensitive when it comes to RV living and this idea that people don't like people that live in RV parks, or that they stereotype people that live in RV parks. And I understand that. In this case, the stereotype had to do with who the RV park was associated with, the group and the cult that they belonged to, and the fact that it was right by a school, and the fact that there would be no safety measures for children, and the fact that it was outside an ordinance, and the fact that it was in an improper zone. So there was a lot of mistakes that were made by Austin with Elkins Planning Commission. So what happened? So that's the disclaimer. We don't hate you if you're in an RV park, okay? And nobody there did either. So Austin Forsyth and Joy purchased a piece of property last summer, and it's like 12 acres, and it's right in the heart of Elkins. It's a very small town. I want to give a shout out to all the amazing Elkin residents who not only brought the story to my attention, but also allowed me into one of their groups so I could watch this. And I want to thank the individual Kelly who filmed this for others to watch. Thank you so much for the video that I was able to share today. So they were concerned that this might get passed if it didn't get more media attention. So they asked for my help, and thankfully the news showed up, KNWA showed up as well. So the town hall basically was that Austin and Joy had purchased a piece of property for $159,000. This property was located like on the main drag on a floodplain across from a daycare that has, according to the daycare owner, 170 toddlers that they serve every single day, and not within like 1,000 feet. Not only that, the same location is not zoned for this area. On top of that, there's also a primary school, 2 schools, in fact, very close by. So Austin comes up and he's like all like very confident, and he brings up Jim Bob Duggar's realtor. So Tom Joseph, his realtor, was there to present their plan. Their plan was so ill put together, like it was so ill prepared and so poorly thought out. I was like shocked. Like, I wondered if this how they get things pushed through in Tontitown or in other towns that don't care, because they had a lot of questions for them about what this would include, like facilities, cleaning, what kind of surveillance, security, maintenance, fences, basics, vending, anything that would make it so the accommodations are not only safe for the campers, but also for the people that live in this community, because it would have been right behind people's houses. So obviously they couldn't answer those questions, and they also couldn't decide if it was going to have cabins or RV slits. I know. So neighbors showed up and they were really mad, but they were also very respectful, although some of them were more angry than others. There was a gentleman there that flat out called out that they did not want people that were SOs in their community, and they specifically said they didn't want child M's in their community or child R's in their community. Very targeted in how he chose to say those words. And that these people are not welcome here, is what he said. And everyone clapped. So it was obvious that it wasn't just about the location, it was also a pushback of, we don't want the Duggars cult here at all.
Are my background checks as adequate as yours? Oh, no, so that means if somebody gets slipped by me, right? So like if I'm a felon, they get slipped by, right?
Yep.
So if I was a drug dealer or they slip by, right? Do you have kids? Do you want drug dealers and molesters on your kids? Do any of you guys?
No.
All right. So it seems like we're pretty on par for this.
Some of you will be sensitive to that, but I believe that Jim Bob is involved in this because Jim Bob's realtor was involved in this, and Jim Bob's friend Bob Ballinger was involved in this, and $159,000 cash was used, which I don't know if Austin has that kind of money on hand. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. They were very, 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 very well thought out. The mayor was very poignant because he worked in law enforcement and he felt like their safety measures and arguments just didn't hold up or carry weight. Austin came into this meeting and literally didn't even know the ordinances for how long someone could be in an RV at a park. In November, the city had passed a new ordinance that they could only be parked for a maximum of 2 weeks to avoid long-term renters, and so that it wouldn't have like RV parks turning into mobile home parks, turning into long-term rentals when they're not supposed to be that way. There are parks that allow long-term rentals. There are, but not a lot. And this one, and Elkins doesn't want long-term renters. It's a very, very, very small town that doesn't have the best infrastructure. They have massive problems with sewage and drainage. They have lots of floods. And they were also kind of like pushing back at the fact that he's putting this in a flood zone and that property gets flooded all the time. So people were like angry, right? And then the daycares came up, the superintendent spoke out. The mayor basically told them that they're allowing people to come in and stay for weeks at a time and not knowing anything about them and not having any background checks performed puts the risk of children in the community. Now, why this is relevant in this area, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm not speaking for every other area of the country, but Arkansas has one of the highest populations per capita of registered SOs in the state. And they have a lot that are not compliant or are like they don't have an address. And so the concern was that these SOs that are non-compliant, that are not registered with an address, would bring an RV and park it there in front of a daycare and a school because of the access to kids. And that's not an actually bad like argument at all. And they didn't have any answers for that. Like they didn't know. Austin said that the only thing that they would really know outside of like their credit card information was their name from their credit card. That was it. He would only consider background checks if it was like 2 weeks or longer stays, which exceeds the actual length of stay that they can stay because they can only stay for 2 weeks. It was kind of a shocking juxtaposition to actually witness this because on top of that, Joy was there. And she brought the kids, which I was like, why is Joy there? And why is, well, one, Joy's on the property. She's like an owner of this property, right? So Joy should be there, but why did she bring the kids? She couldn't have gotten a sitter for something like this important, right? And she didn't sit with Austin and she didn't present anything with him. He brought his attorney and he brought his real estate agent, and Joy wasn't a part of that equation. So she was sitting in the back holding the kids in her lap and apparently was very glum when she realized that it wasn't going to pass. So a lot of people in my comments were like shocked that he would literally be so arrogant to buy a piece of property that's not properly zoned and then assume that he could get it zoned. And then once it was denied, which it did get denied unanimously, and everyone cited safety concerns and the fact that it was not in the proper area. One of the guys that's on the planning commission said, we absolutely need businesses in this community. We absolutely could use another RV park, but this is not the right place. And he said, if you want to apply for another location, we can consider that place. And then Austin said, well, I already bought this property. And literally people started laughing at him.
My recommendation to this board is gonna be, I'm gonna say we deny this application, for this location. If you can come with another location, then I'll know about it.
I think the biggest problem with that is the property's already purchased.
Sorry.
Keep it civil.
It's okay.
Keep it civil, okay?
It's okay. It's okay.
You know, I respect you, and listen, we need business.
So once it was denied, they were like heckled out, and now they are out $159,000. And Austin looked mad. The town folk were not interested in having the Duggars there, and I was like kind of reading through comments, and you know, the big thing is that the concern is that, one, who these people are, two, the fact that a lot of them protect predators, three, their beliefs about women and about children, and the types of people that a business owned by them is going to attract into their community, and whether or not other members of this group would be there. So that was one of the comments that I saw a lot of, is that they didn't want that. They didn't want to be like have people try to recruit them into their groups. There was just so much safety concern, and well founded based on how dangerous this cult can be and how extreme they are. There was also questions about weapons. Like, so you're not going to do a background check. Can they bring their weapons? Are you going to allow weapons in your RV park? There were so many questions that made people very uneasy. So anyways, now he's out. So he spent $159,000 on a project, assuming that he was going to get the green light arrogantly, and now he's out of that. And he's going to either have to sell the property, or he's going to have to figure out something else to do with it. And I was talking to a local who said the deal took so long on that piece of property. It had been on the market for such a long time because it's in a flood zone and there's not very much that you can do there. So they were shocked that the Duggars, anyone would actually buy that and think about putting a business there because it's underwater a lot of the time. Some people in my comments were saying that it's their lack of education. Other people were saying it's the arrogance that they think they can do anything that they want. And that's really kind of how they came into the situation. I don't think they were expecting this pushback at all. So Austin and Joy just burned through $159,000, the biggest mistake of their lives. Maybe not. Next, Josh Duggar has finally been scheduled for oral arguments. So the case has been placed on the calendar for his appeal, and it will be in Kansas City on Thursday, February 16th, 2023. They're going to hear the case in front of 3 appellate court judges. It is scheduled, I believe, for 20 minutes, and they have different actions that they have to respond to. And then anyways, so on February 16th, Josh and his attorneys are going to present to the appeals court that he was viciously held unconstitutionally in custody, and they violated his rights, and he needs a new trial. And that will be on February 16th, 2023. In the meantime, Josh might or might not have a prison boo. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I wouldn't be surprised. He did have a weird visitor a couple weeks ago, a gentleman that was very, apparently, according to witnesses, flirty with Josh. They described it as very odd. Like, they acted like a couple, the person said. And we don't know if it was just a friend or not, but Josh hugged the guy, allegedly, and kissed him on the lips. That's what she said. And I was like, oh my God. And it apparently happened on 12/26. I did ask if the visitor lists are public, and she said no. So we're still trying to work through what's going on here. Now, there is this weird thing in the IBLP called the holy kiss, where they have to, like, pastors will kiss other holy men. And so it could be something like that. And she did mention that there was somebody praying over him at one point. So it could have just been a pastor that came in, but it was just such an odd situation, she said, the whole time. And I was like, well, maybe Josh has a pen pal. And she's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. So anyways, Josh has some weird visitors, and we're still like, now my little people are going to figure out if he comes again. And maybe he won't. Who knows? That could be why Anna's rethinking her marriage. Hey, this was something I thought about. If he has a affair with a man or has a boyfriend in prison, do you think that would be the tipping point for Anna? It's not the cheating, it's not the child stuff, but it's the fact that he was gay or he was carrying on in an affair with a man, would that be the tipping point for her? Like, would that be a blessing in disguise for Anna? Hey, Josh, go get a prison boo. I think that might make her leave you. Just saying. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.